Hello and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock with me, Mr. Beardstone, and you may notice by looking down there's a little bit more road going on, but we'll get to that in just a moment. First things first, after the last episode I've had a few comments asking me why there's a panda on the hill behind me. And although it's not a panda, that is actually Bruno's modern house, I think with a few adjustments it can probably be a panda. There we go. Now it looks like a panda. Excellent work. So in the last episode, we did of course build up our wool farm, which has been working an absolute treat, but one thing we didn't do was actually sort out the interior on the bottom floor there. So in between episodes, I have actually had a little bit of a play about, and I'm not completely satisfied. I need to sort out the colouring on some of these costumes, and to be honest, I don't really think the glass stands work here either. So I know I do want some form of display cabinets / tables in here, but I really don't think they want to be glass. So I'm probably going to be tearing out these bits and having a mess around with them, but because we've got Foxy's armour stand pack on, the fact that we can do things like this and have just, you know, smaller statues, and we've got a giant statue here as well and a tiny statue, it's the fact that we can change the size of them and put them in all these different poses, we can have them sitting down, it really does make a difference. I just need to sort out the clothes and probably the heads on them as well, to be honest. But what I've also done is created a purchasing area here. We've just used a few heads and some, you know, basic decorations going on that side, and on this side we have a changing room. And we have actually made use of the lightning rods here, which I think make a really good clothing rail, even if there is a flower under it, but just ignore those, that's absolutely fine. But I really do like this little changing room. I think that works well, even if it is maybe not as private as it should be. But, you know, it is what it is, okay? But as I say, we have plenty of wool coming in now in all colours, which is absolutely marvellous. And I've done a little bit of work outside. So what I've done here is a little bit of planning, city planning if you will, and I've started marking out where some roads are going to go, where certain buildings are going to be as well. So I think the next two buildings to go up are actually going to be the ones on either side of our sort of wool farm here, and one of them is going to be a sugarcane farm and the other one is going to be a super smelter. Or at least that's what their purpose is going to be. From the outside, they're going to look pretty much like a flower shop and a cafe, I think, maybe? I'm thinking maybe a cafe for the smeltery type place. I don't really know yet. The reason I was thinking of putting a cafe here, however, is because we have this nice area here, which if we pave and we put up a few cordons, we can have sort of an alfresco dining area. We can have a big curved window in here, and there's plenty of space inside to put some smelters on the upper levels and have a super smelter working for us there. If we take a flight up to our viewing platform, however, we can get a much better overview of the sort of initial road plans, and you can start to see roughly what I might be thinking in terms of sort of road layout, but we've still got a long way to go. So this area here is actually going to be a sort of green parky type area in the middle of the city. At least that's my current plan. That may well change, but it's a bit of an awkward shape to put a build in, so I don't really know what we're going to do with that particular area. However, we're going to have a nice city block here. We're going to have a road that comes off of this one here and goes around the back. It's going to be a smaller road than the others, and you may notice we do have tram lines, but the tram lines are not going to be on every single road. There's going to be a smaller road coming off here, there's going to be other small roads that do not have tram lines, but there is going to be a sort of circular route. So this bit here is all going to loop up, and then it's going to loop round and go round the edge of the sort of terrain here. This massive area over here, however, is where we're going to be putting our sort of biggest building, I guess, of the city. It's actually where our storage is going to be, and I'm also thinking we might be able to squeeze in a mob farm as well. It kind of depends. But when it does come to farms and mob farming, we are of course doing lots of stuff with Tiz and the Barn Bros, and hopefully later on in the episode we will be able to meet up with Tiz again and have a little chat about where we go next, what materials we're going to be using, and, well, essentially what farm we need to build first. Which I really hope is the iron farm. I have been using so much iron on anvils, it's ridiculous. And the anvils, of course, don't even render in from up here, which is a bit disappointing, but we do have anvils going down the sort of centre line on this road here. And yeah, once we get some more iron on the go, we should be able to get that a bit more filled up. There we go, they've rendered in now. So as you can see, it does work well as a tramline type thing, a monorail tramline, I guess. But yeah, they don't render from a distance. But this is a lot of iron, and we need a lot more. So hopefully, as I say, we can meet up with Tiz later and get an iron farm on the go. First things first, however, I am about to jump on a stream, and if you do want to catch my live streams, you can find me over on twitch.tv/Mr. Beardstone, and on that stream I think we're probably going to get one of these buildings up, which means you're probably about to see a montage. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little montage there, but we're back from stream, and there were a few bits towards the end there that didn't quite make it in. I basically deleted the recording accidentally, but let's not talk about that. However, we have completed the building mostly on the outside now, and to be honest, I was a bit unsure of it at first, but I think now it's got some more of its detail on. I've also sorted out the windows because they were looking pretty naff at the start there, but they're definitely looking better now. I think that's actually working quite well, especially alongside this one here. The next thing, of course, is to sort out the interior, and we've got quite a lot to do on the interior. So inside we have numerous floors. This is actually the top floor, which gives us a nice view out over the, well, what will be the rest of the city. I don't actually know if I'm going to put a farm on this floor or not, because it turns out, after a little bit of experimentation, I can actually get more sugarcane farms on the lower levels than I actually expected. You can probably hear the minecarts going around now. I have built one of them as an example. And this is what it looks like on an individual floor. So we've actually got a floor below here, we've got this one, we've got another floor above, and then the top floor. So we could have, in total, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4. We could have 4 on each floor. We've got 4 floors. So we could have 16 of these farms going. But I'm thinking we're probably only going to do the 12. So this is actually a lossless farm, because what we've got, you can see under there, we have a minecart going backwards and forwards, which picks up anything that lands on the sand here and here. And in the middle, we have a water stream, which, to be honest, when you've got rails, you don't really need it, but I always like to make them look a little bit fancier. That was really close to my face there. Sorry about that. With this pink eye as well. It's just not needed, is it? It's not needed. But I do like being able to see things floating about, so this water tube actually pushes things into the back, which is exactly where the minecart goes as well. It's just one minecart doing a U shape as so, and it would be nice to have it so that the minecarts only trigger when the observers fire, but I haven't really got the space in the building to do that, so we'll have them running for a little while. We'll see how they go, because I didn't actually check chunk borders in this area before I did it, which means there's every chance those minecarts can disappear when I unload a chunk. I mean, I might actually be completely centered in a chunk, I don't know. Apparently there's like some armor stand add-on we have on the server which will actually show me where chunks are, but I don't know how to use it yet, so we'll come back to that later and see what mistakes we've made. So as I say, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 floors of this farm, so I've got 2 more floors to build up. And down the bottom here, this is where all the sugarcane will come. I know there's a lot of chests, and we're never going to get that many chests full of sugarcane, but I just wanted to fill the gap for now, okay? I don't know what I'm going to do with the space up the top here. We're probably going to put in some actual sugarcane plants and so on, but for now I just wanted to block it off so you didn't see the hoppers coming all the way down to the bottom. But this is where the sugarcane gets dropped off from either side. The rest of this downstairs area, we're probably going to put in a few smaller farms. So, for example, we might have a little sort of post that does the bone meal version of the sugarcane farm, so that if we do need lots and lots and lots in a hurry for some reason, we do still have that option. And, of course, it would be really nice to get the 2 tall flower farms in here, and maybe, just maybe, if I can design a farm that actually works in this kind of space, or, well, what would be a small portion of this space, I should say, then I might sort out a single flower farm as well. I've not actually made one of those, but, I mean, the mechanics are fairly straightforward. If you just have a single flower, which I don't at the moment, but if you have a single flower anywhere on Bedrock, you don't have to be in a flower biome or anything like that like you do on Java. You can literally just bone meal a flower, and it will give you more of that flower in the surrounding area. We would then need to break those flowers without breaking the one in the middle, because that's the one we're going to bone meal. And then, yeah, figure out a way to collect everything. So, I mean, it should be fairly simple. We might be able to do a shifting floor farm or something like that. I don't really know. We'll have a little play around with that later, because I think that'll be a nice thing to get in the bottom. Just so our flower shop here actually has a little bit of everything. We could even do a wall of vines at the back here, just so when we need vines, we can come in here, chop off what we need, and then run back out front and do what we need with them. So, yeah, we're going to have a small combination of little farms down the bottom here. But for now, I need to get the rest of the sugarcane farms down up the top, which does actually remind me there's one other thing I want for this. So this build, you might notice, it's looking a little bit dark in comparison to this one, and these windows won't be staying quite like that. So they will actually be having sea lanterns behind them, and we're going to make use of some trapdoors as well, but I don't have the sea lanterns yet, so we're going to have to do an ocean monument raid at some point. Nobody's currently selling them. We don't have a guardian farm on the server yet, but there's definitely a couple in the works. So I might need to put a proper door on this place as well, or I don't know, does the double carpet trick work with mobs? I don't know, but it would be nice to not have the mobs just casually walking into my lower shop here as well. What we're going to do now is get in another level of the sugarcane farms. Now, they're fairly straightforward the way that I've done them. It's following the basic sort of, sugarcane farm design where observers will actually register when they grow and then pop the tops off of them. And I've just put that in completely the wrong place. So I need a couple of rows of planks, and then I need to figure out where to put in the hoppers, which in our case is going to be here. And what we want to do is we do actually want to connect these up to the hoppers that are on the farm below. So I'm going to quickly dig down around about here, which should be fine. And I believe, yep, there we go. So we're not going to pop that sign off, which is good, because that would cause an absolute disaster downstairs. Okay, so we're going to get the hoppers in there, and then we're going to have 3 hoppers here, just in case. I don't really think we need 3. 1 would probably do it, but we've got 3 there. It's absolutely fine. And then we're going to put some powered rail down, and the sand is going to sit on top of that. I need unpowered rails here, so let's get those in. And I think it's safe to get a couple of hoppers in there first as well. Next up, I need the sand, so we're going to put in some sand there, and then we're going to cover the top of all the tracks, because what's going to happen is once we get the minecart hopper in, that's going to pick up any of the sugarcane that falls on the top here. So we're going to repeat that on the other side. We're going to place a redstone block there to power this area, and then we're just going to shield off the front to make it look a bit nicer. Beautiful. At this stage, I can actually just chuck the minecart down now and get that going. Look at that. Wonderful. And then I'm also going to get the piece of glass in there and there so we can actually see what's going on the inside. So now I need to sort out the water supply for the sugarcane. Okay, we're going to get a few more planks in down the back here so that we can contain the water, and I've got some of that ready. Beautiful. So we can put one there, and we need to put one on this side as well. Let's just quickly fill in the rest of this. Lastly, I just need to put some water in the middle, and that will stop there because the sign stops it, and basically anything that falls into the water will just get washed down the tube as well. As I say, this central bit here isn't really needed. You can just push these 2 farms together when you've got rails running underneath, but personally, I just think it looks a bit nicer. So the next step is to sort the observers and pistons, and of course to get some light going for this. So for light, I've been using some glow shrooms, which are an absolute pain to harvest, but they just look really nice in a sugarcane farm, I think. There we go. So we get the line of pistons down, we get a line of observers on top facing away, or facing into the farm I should say, and then at the back here we just literally need to stick a line of redstone so that anytime one of them goes off, they will all go off, because sometimes we just want to harvest what's there, right? Okay, then we'll block off this bit here to make it look a bit nicer, probably connect up the ceiling along the top as well. And then we'll get more glass in and some more ceiling on top there. The last thing we need to do, of course, is to put in the metal bars, which once again, not really required because anything that flies over to this side is going to get picked up by the rail carts. But essentially what we're doing here is making sure that everything that could possibly go wrong has been protected against. So I just need to do the same on this side. And there we go. So the last thing to do is, of course, just to get the sugarcane planted. And now whenever any one of these bits grows on each side, so if, for example, this one was to grow to the top, it fires, and same on this side, it will fire all... Oh, no, wait a sec. That one didn't fire. This is why we test things. So, yep, okay, I missed a bit of redstone there. There we go. So now, if we build that up, perfect. And all the sugarcane will go either into the water or it will land on the sand and get picked up by the rail cart that we've got underneath. So the last thing to do is just to raise up the floor next to each module so you can see into it properly, and we'll just put some temporary lighting here for now. We will of course make this look a bit nicer in the corridors and decorate it and whatnot, but that is one completed module, and we're going to reflect that, well, I say reflect that, we're going to build exactly the same thing here with one difference in that we can do it a block shorter because we're actually going to share the redstone that is on this block here, which means we're going to be sticking pistons directly onto these ones here, so we'll be able to fit in another module right next to it, and then same again upstairs. I'm going to get to the grind and I'll see you once we're done. I think I can finally say we have all of our farms in. I did actually decide to change a couple of them, so we've actually only got 3 farms on each of the top 2 levels because I didn't want to block the wonderful view, and once we've actually got the rest of the city up, that's going to look really cool as well. And, you know, how can you block a view like that? Oh, I love that panda. So in total, we've actually got 14 of these farms, and they should be producing a decent amount of sugarcane for us. So, as I say, that actually goes through all 4 levels now. We've got 2 like that, and then we've got 2 that have got the extra farm on the front as well, mainly because they weren't blocking windows down the front. And I really do need a solution for this doorway, because I don't want stuff constantly walking in all the time, but I do actually want a bit of a grass floor in places in here. But in order to prevent spawns, I might be better off using moss. Before we get to sorting out this interior, however, there's a couple of other things I need to do. And the first one is to actually sort out a quick shulker monster. We've got about 7 or 8 shulkers now full of rubbish, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff that's in those boxes is stuff I'm going to need for this interior. So I'm going to go sort those out, and then we're going to look at how we can get some sea lanterns. But as nobody is selling them, I think we're just going to have to go raid a monument. So I've flown here, we're about 4,000 blocks out from spawn, the sun is going down, but it's fine because I've got a night vision potion on. And I think we're just going to run in there and grab some sea lanterns. We are, of course, going to have to take care of the Elder Guardians, so I'm fully prepared. I've got my TNT, I've got some redstone, I've got other potions of stuff and things, like, look, water breathing. I'm going to drink one of those now, otherwise I will forget. And, of course, I have the milk for sort of afterwards, basically. So I think we should be good to go. I'm just going to dive right in and hope for the best. Let's do this. I've just realised I totally forgot to bring the blocks I need to put round the TNT before I put the redstone on it. Oh dear. We'll try this again in a moment. And now I've got mining fatigue, so grabbing blocks is taking forever. Oh dear. Take 2. After raiding that monument, we've managed to get away with 3 Elder Guardian heads, but almost a stack and a half of sea lanterns. There may well be a few more over there, but I've basically run out of water breathing potions now, so we're going to have to leave. Our timer's almost up on this one, and it's dark as well, so we're going to head back home and crack on with the rest of this build. Now that is looking much better and much more along the lines of what I was thinking. I've actually changed this whole front bit here. The whole wall of purple glass bit wasn't really working for me, and those windows looked a little bit too separate from what's at the bottom here. So me and Mrs. B brainstormed it and we came up with this, and I really like it, so thank you for that, Mrs. B.
You're welcome.
As you can see, we've also made good use of the sea lanterns behind the crimson trapdoors, which I really do like the feel that they give, and I actually need to swap out the redstone block I put up there as well for the same thing. And then, I think we're actually ready to move on to the inside. There's a couple of small details we are going to put on the outside here, but we'll probably save that for another day. But I really do want to get the rest of this interior done, so I think the first step is going to be to get some 2 tall flower farms in, and get the vine farms in, and just see what else we can squeeze in after that, I think. Well, it's the next day in real life, but I think we're actually done with this build now, which I'm very pleased about, and I really actually like how that's come out. I think it works really well. I've added some leaves onto the top just to show a little bit more what this building is about, and one little detail I really like is this. The ATM. It's very, very simple. It works great in RTX as well, which I'll show you, I guess, once it gets a bit darker. But yeah, we've just put a little screen in there. It's actually got an ender chest in the bottom, which is the whole purpose of it. And I think we're probably going to have these, or at least variants of these, scattered throughout the city. But I know what you all want to see is what's on the inside, and look at this. This is looking very much like a, well, garden centre, I guess. There's lots of greenery things going on. I've got signs up everywhere. And I've tried to make as much use of the space as possible. Some bits are temporary, like at the top there, which I'll show you in just a moment, but other bits are done and will stay as they are, such as the 2 tool flower machine, which is very, very simple. You literally just flick this switch, and then bone meal gets spat at all of the flowers, and then it gets collected here. We've just got a minecart with a hopper minecart even, inside each one of these grass blocks, and that basically just pulls everything through into another hopper and directly into the barrels, and you can see how quickly that's producing stuff. I've probably ran this machine for about 5 minutes in total, and yeah, we've got absolutely tons of things, and things that shouldn't have fallen into the hoppers at the back. At the back here, I've also got my vine wall, which very simply I can just chop all the vines here, and ones that fall in this area here, I mean, maybe I need another row of hoppers, but there are hoppers underneath here, so it all just gets collected and pushed into the barrel, but for the most part, you're probably going to collect it when you're cutting it anyway. It's just so nothing gets left on the floor. And in here, this is where it all sits. As we move around, of course, we've got the sugarcane, which is starting to produce very nicely, as we've been here for quite a while, and in the middle, we've got glowberries, which are very easy to produce. You literally just bone meal that bit there and click it again, and if you just hold down right click, you just spam it with bone meal, and then you just get loads of berries. So I've been storing those in the bottom here. So far we've got the glowberries, we've got vines, we've got sugarcane, and we've got flowers. But we've also got azalea and moss carpets, and that involves the upstairs area here. So up here, it's a very simple system. It's very manual for now, but it's probably slightly easier than doing it without the water setup we've got. But quite simply, you just bone meal this, and once you get some bits that you want, you literally just push the button, and everything gets pushed into the hoppers in the corner. So I will automate this a bit more in future and make a proper sort of azalea sapling farm, which is essentially the things that I'm after the most. It's the azaleas there. And as I say, if I just leave that on, that will actually wash everything exactly where we need it. So only slightly faster than bone mealing moss and punching it all out, but at least that way we can get the azalea and the bits we need, and I've been moving the seeds into the chest below because nobody really wants seeds now, do they? And lastly, on the ceiling, I've just put a trellis with some leaves above it, and I do need to get a few more leaves. It's a little bit patchy in places, but I think this building works really well, comes together absolutely wonderfully, and it looks like the sun's going down. So let's have a quick look at this building in RTX. And there we go. So the sun is still going down, but you can see where the lights are, and what this tells me is we need to get some light on the inside upstairs. Ah! Oh. Well, it finally happened, I guess. Aww. Well, there's good news and bad news following that. So, one, at least I've had my first death now, so I'm not going to get hunted down and bullied by all the other members of the server. And by bullied, of course, I mean just them trying to kill me, because it was going to happen, wasn't it? It was going to happen. But, more importantly, look, I find... Wait a minute, Mr. Perfect's head? Mr. Perfect's head? Why is... I mean, they're not wrong, but still. But I do finally have one of my player heads, and if I put that on, I no longer have pink eye. I just have a slightly larger head than normal. The other good news is I no longer have my Curse of Binding helmet on, which is fantastic. So I'm going to make sure I put on the other bits of... Wait a minute, where's my trousers? Oh no, I've just realised my trousers had Curse of Vanishing as well. So we're basically down to boots and an elytra. because I really can't put the helmet back on. I don't need to be doing that. We do have plenty of other gear, though, that I can get leveled up, and we've got the Furnace God, so I can get all my levels back fairly easily, and we can get re-equipped. It's really not a problem. And this giant head is really weird. Yeah, it really does look large. Look at that. Look at the size difference. It's crazy. Anyway, so we were looking at this in RTX because it was all, you know, dark and nighttime and lovely when we got blown up by an unfortunately placed creeper. And I think it's going to work quite well. But as I say, from that brief look we did get, it's looking a bit dark at the top here, so we're probably going to get some lights on the inside to lighten up the top of the building as well. But yeah, overall, I'd say this has been a great success, despite the death. We've managed to get a sugarcane farm up. We've also got a few other smaller manual farms in there, and the 2 tall flower farm. So we're really starting to make some good progress on this city and on our base, and we're slowly getting the things we're going to need to be able to, 1, fly around, and 2, build up more of these buildings in the coming episodes. I just put my head on again, completely accidentally. Sadly, we didn't get a chance to meet up with Tiz Tom today. He had some real-life things to take care of, but we will try and catch him on the next episode and actually make a start on the Barn Bros Industrial District, which I'm very much looking forward to. For now, though, I guess I'm going to say bye and then go cry in a corner about my first death. Bye-bye now.